I think struggle in life is what it is, right? But struggle always depends on what you plug yourself into, the things that you plug yourself into. Not only the habits that you plug yourself into in life, but also the excuses, the rituals, the mindsets, the ways of thinking, the ways of acting. These are all going to determine what you struggle with in life. And I'll give you a couple of examples. When I was drinking, and I think this happens for most drinkers, we tend to generally not only struggle with the alcohol, with the habit itself and with all the other offshoots of that habit, but we also struggle with ourselves. And we're all the time fighting with ourselves. You've got this conflict inside of you all the time that this is bad for you, but you've got the cognitive dissonance. And, the basic thing from cognitive dissonance is that we do not like to think that we're acting in a way which is against our own best interests, right? So that we're acting in a way which is really stupid, right? Which is not leading us in the right direction. So we tend to find excuses, find storylines, narratives that at least support the idea that partially what we're doing is right, which is like, there's nothing wrong with a couple of drinks, there's nothing wrong with moderation, all that kind of stuff, right? But in general, it's always you're using a drug to cope with, right? A coping drug. And whenever you're using a coping drug, whether that's coping with stress or socializing, or you're just using it as a coping mechanism for when you finish work in the evening and you want to relax. It's a coping drug, and it will give you much more struggle than it's solving. Now, the difference with when you don't drink or when you stop drinking alcohol is, for a start, there's a huge burden that's lifted off your shoulders. This conflict is gone overnight when you decide that you're no longer drinking again. I mean, it doesn't go with moderation because you've still got it there. You still know that you're putting a toxin into your body, right? Your body still knows that. Your body sees alcohol as a toxin, pure and simple, right? Your mind is the one that is trying to twist things around and, feed you stories that you want to hear, right? We're much more capable of deluding ourselves than we are of deluding other people, that's for sure. But anyway, once you stop that, the conflict lifts, the burden lifts, you feel such a big weight lifting off your shoulders from that perspective. There's no longer any cognitive dissonance, and that's what the weight is. But you also, you start to struggle with purpose in life, right? You're struggling towards something. Life is still a struggle, right? That's just the way life is. There's always going to be problems. There's always going to be obstacles in your way, and you're always going to struggle with things like, just being here, existing gives you struggle. But it's struggle towards something, and it's struggle with when you're moving towards something, you're goal orientated, you're moving towards purpose in your life. You have purpose. You have reasons for living. There is a reward at the end of it, and big intrinsic rewards. Intrinsic as in you feel them, as in a gut part of yourself, rather than the instant gratification reward that you get in the moment, and that's all you get out of it. But you're trading that off for long-term struggles that you cannot possibly win, you cannot possibly overcome, because you're trying to do two things at the same time. You're trying to have fun, but you're poisoning yourself, so it's a different way of looking at things. It's a different way of seeing struggle in your life, that struggle is a part of life. It's a part of life that I long ago accepted and embraced, so take care. Onwards and upwards. Keep the alcohol out of your mouth.